The woman I disemboweled had something strange in her abdomen. 24 hours into my shift, I was tired, exhausted. My eyelids dragged shut of their own accord, and every time they closed, strange patterns crawled in the dark behind them, writhing like things alive. Just one more note, I told myself, and I'd be free to go home. I typed the last of the vitals, closed the laptop, and considered whether I should eat before collapsing into sleep. My body begged for food, but the thought of swallowing anything filled me with unease. Still, I rose and began the slow trek down the stairs toward the cafeteria. The hospital at dawn is unlike any other place. The lights hum like insects trapped behind the ceiling tiles. Shadows lean across the sterile floors, and every cough, every shuffle echoes far too loudly in the corridors. That was when I saw her. In the lobby, a woman slumped in a wheelchair. Her skin was waxen, her hair slicked to her temples with sweat. Her eyes, half-lidded, unfocused, reflected nothing, as if light itself recoiled from them. A man stood behind her, glancing between her face and the indifferent receptionist at the desk. I could have kept walking. I wanted to. My stomach twisted with hunger, my bones ached with fatigue, and yet something about her made turning away impossible. I stepped closer. My pulse quickened with each stride. The man noticed me first. "Doctor, please." My wife, Amanda, she was nauseous this morning. Her doctor gave her an admission order. But while we were waiting, she got worse. They gave me a wheelchair, but his words blurred. My attention was fixed on Amanda. Her lips moved, forming broken animal sounds. I pressed my fingers to her wrist, searching for the reassuring throb of life. What I found was not reassuring. Her pulse stuttered beneath my fingertips. 30 beats per minute, irregular, like the faint ticking of some clock winding down. Her breath rattled, her skin damp and clammy. Her eyes fluttered, then rolled slightly upward. Shock. In the middle of the lobby, surrounded by people, no one had noticed she was dying. I looked at the receptionist, who barely glanced up from her screen. Irritation etched across her face. Rage flared in me. Though I didn't recognize it as my own, it felt borrowed, implanted. Without thinking, I ordered the man to follow me and wheeled his wife toward the emergency department. We did not run. Running would have turned the moment into chaos. Instead, we walked, slowly as though in a procession. I asked questions, illnesses, medications, history, but my voice trembled. I am only an intern, I thought. If she goes into asystole now, I'll have to... I stopped the thought. I did not want to imagine CPR in that long hallway under the humming lights. We reached the EA doors. I cut through the man's explanation to the receptionist. "Code red, Brenda. Open the doors. Now." She obeyed, and the doors yawned wide. Inside, the attending roused from half-sleep, and within moments the room filled with nurses, monitors, voices. We laid Amanda down, wires snaking across her body, screens flickering with numbers that painted her death in real time. Heart rate, 30. Blood pressure, 60/30. Respirations shallow, uneven. Her husband spoke of nausea, of vomiting blood earlier that morning. I pried her mouth open, saw the black crust of dried blood on her tongue and teeth. The smell that poured out was not merely iron and bile. It was ancient, rank, the kind of scent one imagined seeping from catacombs unopened for centuries. Her abdomen was distended, rigid, silent as stone. I pressed my stethoscope to her flesh, and for a moment I imagined I could hear something, not the hush of peristalsis, but a faint, whispering murmur, as though the body contained not organs but voices. The monitor beeped. 29 BPM. Atropine now. The attending barked. The nurse obeyed. The numbers crawled upward, reluctantly, like a creature stirred from slumber. 30, 31, 37, 40. Amanda moaned, each sound leaving her in a rhythm too precise, too ritualistic, like prayer to some forgotten god. I leaned toward the attending. "It may be a perforated ulcer," he ordered in ultrasound. The black and white image revealed free fluid throughout her abdomen. She was bleeding, drowning in herself. She would need surgery. "Go fetch the chief," he told me. I obeyed. The chief came, looked once at the monitor, then made a call. "As soon as she's stable, we'll stop the bleed." 30 minutes later, Amanda was deemed stable enough for the OR. As we wheeled her down the corridor, I felt the walls draw closer, the fluorescent lights flickering, as though dimmed by her presence. In the operating room, I introduced myself to Dr. Roberts, who led the case. He nodded. "We'll need your hands. Dr. Brown will assist as second surgeon." We scrubbed, donned gowns, and began. When the first incision was made, a smell erupted, not the acrid tang of cauterized flesh, but a stench older, heavier. It clawed its way into our sinuses, made our eyes water. It smelled of earth, of graves, of something left to rot in silence for centuries. We opened her abdomen. Darkness spilled forth. Blood black as tar oozed from within, but it was not merely fluid. It was alive in its stillness, drinking in the light, bending the edges of the room. We worked deeper. The cavity stretched unnaturally, as though her body contained more space than it should. Dr. Roberts and Dr. Brown lifted the intestines out and pressed them into my hands. I should have felt the gentle rhythm of peristalsis. Instead, the coils twitched in violent, jagged spasms, as if something inside them struggled to escape. Sweat soaked my mask. My heart stuttered. I gripped the mass with trembling fingers, desperate not to drop it. Then it erupted. Intestines, blood, feces burst outward, not with the chaos of an accident, but with the inevitability of birth. The room was drenched. My glasses saved my eyes, but when I wiped them clear, the sterile field was gone, drowned in filth. The others stood frozen, their faces twisted in horror. They had no eye protection. Their eyes were wide, staring, reflecting the impossible sight before us. Amanda's abdomen had become a mouth. It widened, stretched, and from it poured not organs, but something else, something that bent the room. The lights bent toward it. The floor seemed to ripple beneath it, and the walls bowed inward. It was not a form, but many faces melted together, mouths opening and closing, tendrils writhing and splitting into anatomies unimagined. It was intestines, and it was not. It was flesh, and it was something older than flesh. The thing touched the surgeons, and they did not scream. They did not blink. They simply froze, their pupils swallowed by black. The door opened. Someone entered, drawn by the noise. That sound broke my paralysis. I fled. I ran until my lungs seared, until bile rose in my throat, until I collapsed heaving in the corridor. Now the surgeons lie in the ICU comatose. Their faces are still twisted in the same grotesque shapes I saw in the OR, as though frozen mid-horror. Their bellies swell. Sometimes they twitch in unison, in rhythms I do not recognize, yet I feel in my bones. They asked me what happened. The chiefs, the attendings, the nurses. But even if I spoke, they would not believe. I know this much. Amanda was never the patient. She was the vessel. And what we released that night was not meant to be seen by human eyes.